So as it turns out, my favorite aspect of a Sonic series, more specifically the Sonic Adventure series, is selling well in Japan. If you're not living in Japan yourself, this will obviously come as a shock to you, as it did for me. But for the past 13 years since the games first came to Steam everywhere else, or at least I assume everywhere else, but ever since learning that the game hadn't been in Japan for the past 13 years, it makes me wonder just how many other countries may have fallen behind in getting to play the Adventure series themselves. Regardless, since the games first jumped to Steam, Xbox Live, and PlayStation Network 13 years ago, the Japanese Steam community hasn't had the opportunity to play these games themselves, at least until a few weeks ago. On January 23rd, the Steamy releases of Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 finally made the jump to Japan, and apparently they've been selling well. This is according to a post from a Japanese on Twitter account where they've said that the Adventure series has sold well in Japan since they first arrived on Steam over there. They didn't give any specifics on how well they're selling, only that they're selling well. Would like some numbers to work with here, but I don't think they typically believe this information when reporting on a game's sales, at least to the public. So either way, this is still cool to hear. Like I said, the Adventure series is the best aspect of Sonic, at least to me it is. So seeing other people enjoy these games is always a massive W. What makes this even more impressive is that in comparison to other countries, Sonic has never been known to sell that well in Japan. But Sonic Frontiers has been a big hit worldwide, selling 3.5 million copies, including in Japan. It's been a big hit there, and that in turn may have inspired Sonic veterans to revisit the Adventure series, or in the case of the newer fans, to try out the Adventure series once it popped up on Steam. Now Superstars, on the other hand, apparently didn't fare as well as Frontiers did, if Sega's recent comments on their sales are anything to go by. But then what do you think is going to happen when you release that game next to titans like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Spider-Man 2? I think we all knew this was coming. Still, that apparently hasn't stopped Sonic fans in Japan, new and old, from trying out the Adventure series on Steam. That's awesome. The only problem is, these games are releasing in pretty much the same condition they were in when they first came to Steam in 2011, and to the PS3 and Xbox 360 in 2010. In other words, these ports are showing their age. Not as badly as the games they're directly based on, but still, they're practically teenagers. And I'm not just talking about from a visual perspective. They obviously were not designed with current hardware in mind. The setup I currently use is a 144Hz monitor and an i7 PC with a 3080 card. Recently I tried playing Sonic Adventure 2 again, and the game started crashing when booting up. I had never run into this problem, but then the setup I played on before this one was much older and not as advanced, so it's kind of funny because in a way there was a benefit in and of itself. And it's also a benefit to anybody still stuck with low-end PCs. The Adventure series can run just fine on such setups. But yeah, when I upgraded, Sonic Adventure 2 was like, nope, not playing for you anymore, buddy. At least until I got around this issue by changing the refresh rate to 60Hz and not running the game in full screen. Only then did the crashes stop, thank God. I also know there's an SA2 mod manager out and about that more than likely provides ideal fixes to these problems. As for Sonic Adventure 1, which used the DX Director's Cut edition, I've always played that using the better SADX mod pack, and I highly recommend it to anyone watching this video. I'll have a download link for it in the description. But it allows you to play the game while properly emulating the Dreamcast experience it was first made for in the late 90s, but with obvious widescreen upgrades and quality of life fixes. This to me is a perfect way to play Sonic Adventure 1. At least right now it is, but you know Sega, you could always prove me wrong by putting out an up-to-date remaster of the Adventure series, or better yet, Adventure Remakes, like I've always hoped you would do for a long time now. Hint hint, nudge nudge. Yeah, this has taken a very painfully predictable turn, hasn't it? I go and put out a video talking about the sale of Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 picking up somewhere, and obviously many of you, if not all of you, will be ready for me to go all, oh please Sega, give it a Sonic Adventure remaster or remake, please please please, the people obviously want it, come on now! And I mean, I've never denied it. I already told you, the adventure aspect of Sonic has always been my favorite part of the series, so of course I've wanted a Sonic Adventure remaster or remake, and I'll keep asking for it until it does happen. In fact, it's far more likely to happen than you might think. because Sega have been putting out remasters of their Sonic titles recently. First Sonic Colors Ultimate, which came out in 2021, and then Sonic Origins, which first dropped in 2022 and then got updated with more content the year after. And now they're checking off another remaster from their list, Sonic and Shadow Generations, which is part remaster, part new game. They revealed the contents for it at Sony's State of Play a couple of weeks ago, and they're going to drop it later this fall. Obviously not the Sonic Adventure remake I asked for, but I'm fine with this. In fact, I'm beyond pumped for this game to release, again because of the Shadow content, which turned out to be way more than people had first predicted. The detail of this game had actually leaked a couple of days ahead of the State of Play, and this is kind of funny to think about, but people weren't that excited for it, if at all. Whether it be because they'd already played Sonic Generations hundreds if not thousands of times by now, or they weren't too thrilled with Sega's track record for Sonic remasters, again pointing back to Colors Ultimate and Origins. Colors Ultimate, I understand. I've had the game crash on me quite a number of times when playing on the PS4, on PC not so much, but that's accounting only for the Steam port, which released well after it first came to Epic and all the other platforms. With Origins on the other hand, I've had much better luck. It never crashed on me. There were a few oddities with the gameplay, but nothing too serious. One achievement, however, would not unlock at first when I met the conditions for it, the Art Appreciator achievement to be specific. I had to back up my save file and make a new one just to get that one to finally pop. After Colors Ultimate released, Sega has taken care to have Sonic titles readily available on Steam from launch. Sonic Origins, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Superstars, which partly use integration from Epic Games as part of its online battle mode feature, that's just hilarious. And we can add Sonic and Shadow Generations to that list, thankfully. With all these remasters going on, the Sonic Adventure series is bound to be next at some point. I mean, at the end of this year, we're getting a movie, but it's all about Shadow the Hedgehog. It will pull directly from events as it were depicted in Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow's very own game in 2005. But then Sonic and Shadow Generations is obviously going to be the game that they'll release to capitalize on the hype surrounding the third Sonic movie. And that too will reference events directly from Shadow's own history, including Adventure 2 and his 2005 game. It even brings back Black Doom, the big baddest Shadow the Hedgehog, whom we haven't seen for 19 years. I guess Black Doom was kinda off by 19 years when he was going all, "The day of reckoning will soon be here." Sorry my poor Black Doom impersonation. But whether sooner or later, at least he came back, and that's enough for me. But yeah, back to the Sonic Adventure series. Since Shadow Generations will obviously borrow an Adventure 2, some may go on to say that a remaster or remake of the Adventure series as a whole may no longer be necessary. But nah, I beg to differ. For one, while I'm expecting plenty of content from Shadow Generations, I highly doubt they'll go the distance and include literally every stage Shadow was ever playable in throughout Sonic's history. Like imagine a whole stage list combined from both Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, all of the stages he could be played in. I don't think they'll be that drastic. I'm expecting only a portion of that stage list at best, not the whole thing. We're getting Westopolis, and the Space Colony Arc, or Final Chase or Final Rush, whatever you want to call it, that much we know, and I'm pretty sure there'll be more stages yet to be revealed. But as such, they will leave quite a few stages on the table still, meaning you'll miss out on much of the experience you would have gotten from playing both Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Secondly, I already opened this video by pointing out how Japanese Sonic fans are currently buying, and hopefully enjoying, the Sonic Adventure series on Steam now they can play it there. But to be fair, they've had a few options to experience the series already, even if they're obviously not as plentiful as ours. For one, there's the original hardware, which isn't as accessible nowadays, and then there's Xbox Live. PlayStation used to be a part of that list, but now that's only the case if they're PS3, the PlayStation console on which the 2010 remasters were originally released. For PS4 and PS5, you could play the Adventure titles using the PlayStation Now service up until the Sonic lineup got pulled from that service, and that was around the time Sonic Origins was getting ready to be released. As for Nintendo Switch, the Adventure series is currently absent there, which, talk about a huge missed opportunity. Even though the Switch is selling less year after year, it still went on to become Nintendo's second best-selling console, with only the Nintendo DS ahead of it. Imagine how many customers would take notice if the Adventure series suddenly dropped on Switch, or better yet, the successor to the Switch. Word has it that the next console in Nintendo's lineup is getting unveiled later this year, and dev kits are being handed out for the next Nintendo console. I'm definitely excited for it if that's the case, but Switch's been out for 7 years, so it's high time that we got something new. Even if the Switch itself still has plenty of potential behind it. Well, aside with processing power, which still isn't on par with current competitors, might be time for them to step that up. And didn't Takashi Iizuka express the desire to continue the Adventure series while being interviewed about Sonic Frontiers? In which case he'd be thinking of a third Sonic Adventure title rather than remaking the original two, more than likely, but still. Anything that breathes life back into the Adventure series, whether a new game or a re-release, I'll take it, that's for sure. If you were to ask me years ago if I felt the Sonic team was ready to take a swing at a new Sonic Adventure game, whether it was a new title or a remaster or a remake or whatever really, I would have said no. But today, with how big a hit Sonic Frontiers has been, SEGA allotted more resource to Sonic Team, and Sonic Team apparently handling the Generations remaster themselves rather than outsourcing it to somebody else like they did with the last few remasters. Taking all that into account, I think they're ready to give it a shot. But obviously we'll want to wait and see how well Sonic and Shadow Generations turns out, and then we'll go from there. Even then, there's no guarantee the Adventure series will ever be revisited, but I'll never stop holding out hope for it. And like I said earlier, Takashi Iizuka has said he wants to continue the series. There was never a confirmation that it would actually happen, just that he expressed interest in doing so. So, you never know what might happen. That's gonna do it for this video, but before I go, quick shout out to GDubA, who's been kind enough to step in and help with this video's thumbnail. Really appreciate him for that. If you haven't checked out his content yet, give his channel a look, he's got some awesome stuff over there. And if you want to catch more of my videos, don't forget to sub and ring that bell for my own channel so you don't miss out on anything. I know, it's been forever since I posted, but guess what guys? I'm back! And hopefully, I'm here to stay. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace! Blue blurs for life? Holy crap, I haven't said that in forever, but it still sounds cool to say as ever. Take care.